Hi, and welcome to Classic Advice. My name is Scarlett Classic. I am your host. This is my podcast all about my advice that I'd like to share with you. I also have co hosts on, and they bring their own unique experience and expertise to the show, which is awesome. So I'm so happy that you decided to join, and let's dive right into the episode. Alrighty, guys. So this week, I thought we would talk about perfectionism. Now, it can have very positive effects, but it can impact our lives negatively. So first off, I thought we would talk about the positives, how it can positively influence our lives. So I'm not starting off all negative. And then we will slide into the negative part of perfectionism. And and then of course at the very end of the episode, I will leave you with my challenge for you guys for this next week. So the definition of perfectionism, I looked it up, and as per Google, it is perfectionism is the refusal to accept any standard short of perfection. So the positive sides of being a perfectionist, and just so you know, I am talking just as much to myself here. So I'm not just lecturing you guys. I am bad for this too. So just so we're clear on that. It can be a positive attribute in the sense that it can drive you to be better, to be the best, and to not settle for a job half done. Right? For example, there are some things that require perfectionism. Like, I used to do payroll for a big company of 300 plus employees. And that's all I did week to week is I entered everybody's hours and then into the system, and then everybody got paid. It was really great. Really, really great job. Love that job. But it required perfectionism. So I would have to double check and triple check all my work. And I remember when I first started, I entered it all in. And my boss, when I was double checking, I had entered a number wrong. And my boss was like not happy with me. She was not happy with me. She demanded perfectionism. Now, I totally get why she responded that way, because what I was doing, I can't underpay and I can't overpay anybody, right? But that's why we have the double check and the triple check to just make sure 100% that everybody gets their correct hours and all that, right? Because human error. Now, something else that requires perfectionism, one of my hobbies that I've mentioned before in previous episodes, is the fact that I build these like adult Lego sets, but it's not like the Lego brand, it's a different brand. And they have these lights that you wire in with the set. If you do a step wrong, even if you don't have the wire light, say you just have a normal Lego set, and if you do one step wrong, well, now 20 steps, 50 steps, whatever later, you try to do something and now it's not working because you didn't do a step previous to perfection, and now your set won't work. Now the pieces won't fit because you have to do it exactly by the book if you want it to turn out like the set that you bought. Right? If you want to just do your own thing, that's perfectly fine. But if you want it exactly how they have it, you have to follow their steps exactly. Perfectionism does have a time and a place. It's not a black and white thing. It's not something that is 100% good or 100% bad. And for me, if you're like me, you might understand this in the sense that I find the grays really hard. I'm a very black and white person. I like things to be black and white, right or wrong. That's just me, but life isn't all black and white. You have the gray area. So when perfectionism gets to the point where it's too much, then that's where it starts to negatively affect our lives, right? Another great thing about perfectionism is that it drives you to work harder, to not be lazy with your work, to not just do something half-hearted, but to do it right and to do it great and to do it perfect. We had talked about self-esteem before, and I asked you what you liked about yourself. And one of the things that I had said, that as a perfectionist, when I do something or take on a new hobby like podcasting, I truly give it my all. And I do credit my perfectionism to that. I really strive for everything to be really great, or at least the best that I can do. I tell that to my kids, for school, that as long as you are trying your best, boys, that's all that I ask. And if you're trying your best. And that's all that I ask, that you give it your all, that you try your best. If you listen to my episode about disability, you'll know that school wasn't easy for me. Another good quality of perfectionism that I notice in my own life is my eye for detail. I'm good at catching the little things, the minute details. Now for the negative qualities of perfectionism. Now this is when it stops you from doing what you want, from finishing your projects, like having a couple novels started, but getting stuck because you weren't happy with them. Having 10 knitting projects on the go, but not ever finishing any of them because they didn't quite turn out perfect. It could be lots of things. A painting, it could be anything, really. In episode 12, I talked about not letting fear keep you from your dreams. Well, don't let your perfectionism keep you from your dreams either. Because if we put it off because we're just not happy, because it's not absolutely perfect, then that's keeping us from our dreams too. Right? An example from my own life is it has always been a dream of mine to write and publish a novel. But I am the queen of excuses and wanting my books to be absolutely perfect. So I'll start them and then I get frustrated because they're not as good as I want, and I get stuck because I am stuck on them being perfect. And then I never finish. So this is something that I am working on in my own life. I've started to do a little bit more research on how I can make my writing better, and I've gotten a lot of great ideas, and now I just need to just sit down and write. Just sit down and write. Just do it. Whatever your dream is, just do it. That's that's all it is. You gotta start somewhere. Will I write and finish it and then not be published? There's a very high chance of that. Yeah, I might never be published. Maybe I'll self-publish because there's that option now. But I need to finish it before I can even submit it to a publisher, right? So, I can't get too ahead of myself. But if I never write it, well, I'll never be published. So then my dream will never be true. I'll automatically fail, like how I was saying in my disability episode. I was scared to go to university because I was scared of failing. Well, then I didn't go. Well, then I automatically failed because I didn't go. So if you never just do it, if you never take that one step towards your dream because you're scared it won't be perfect, well, then it's never going to get done and you'll never reach your dreams and you will automatically fail. So at some point, I have to stop the research on how to write, stop obsessing about it being perfect, and just sit down and do it. Same goes for my podcast. I know I'm not as good as the hot shot podcasters out there. I'm well aware of that fact. But I'm here. I'm giving it my best. I'm giving it my all. But if I let my perfectionism get the better of me, I would never have released my first episode. Because I know it's not perfect. But it's like anything. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. The first time you started learning how to write, your letters weren't perfect, right? Riley's in grade 1 right now, so he's learning how to write and read and all that fun stuff. And yeah, it's messy because he's learning how to do it. Yeah, he's not a really fast reader right now because he's learning how to do it. So same thing goes for anything. For my writing, for my podcast. Yes, the first couple of times it's going to be rough. It's going to be raw. It's not going to be perfect. So to hold myself to that standard, if you're holding yourself to that standard, you're really not being fair to you. Nobody is perfect. No one is perfect. It's part of being human, right? It's just part of being human. So recognizing that fact, I think, is really key, so that you're not holding yourself to an unreasonable standard, right? And don't get me wrong, like, yes, do your research. Yes, always strive to be better. I'm striving to make my writing better. I'm researching how to write novels so that I can go back to my novel and make it better. And I've learned so many things, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. Oh, that's what, there's a bunch of things that I could just change and make so much better. And it will give me the momentum and the drive to finish it, because I know that my story idea is good. I've told people about my story idea and they're like, oh, wow, that's like really interesting. I want to read that. So I know my idea is good. I just need to implement these new things that I have researched, these new things that I've discovered, these new techniques to implement into my writing to make it more interesting, to make it more engaging, to make it more, to give it that element that's just yes. And to keep me going with it. Because that's where I got stuck, was I was like, this something isn't right. And so I stopped. And I'm glad that I did now, looking back, because now that I've learned all these new techniques that I can implement into my book, it's going to be that much better. So when I do finally finish and I do submit it to a publishing house, hopefully they won't reject me. They might reject me. That's just name of the game. A lot of authors have been rejected numerous times. But I am giving it my all. So yes, don't just not do your research. Don't just not even try. But if you're stuck at the research stage. That's what I'm trying to get across, is don't get stuck in that research stage. Okay, I've done my research now. Now I'm going to start writing. Now I'm going to go back to my book. Now I'm going to make it better. Now I'm going to finish it. And I'm going to finish it. This is my goal to myself. This is what I am doing. I need to finish it because this is what I want. I've been dreaming of this for years, and I don't want my perfectionism to stop me from attaining my goals. Just like with my podcast, I'm hoping that with every episode that I do, I'm getting just a little bit better. With every interview that I do, or co-host episode, because I don't really do interviews, with every co-hosted episode that I do, I'm hoping that I'm getting just a little bit better. And when I go back and listen to episode 1, I cringe. Because, yeah, it was raw, and it was... But I've grown. It's like what I was talking about in my disability. Like you hike up that mountain, you do that step, one step at a time, and then you turn around and then you look down that mountain into the valley and you're like, holy, look how far I've gone. But if you never practice and you don't let yourself be imperfect, if you don't let yourself be imperfect, you'll never get better. So don't let it stop you. Because I wouldn't be podcasting. I wouldn't be writing. I would have just given up and been like, well, I guess I can't write a book. Well, I guess I can't be a podcaster because I can't get it right. I can't get it perfect. Is that what you want? I want you to be honest. Is that really what you want? Or... do you want to let yourself be imperfect? And as you go along, if you have a podcast, as you podcast, if you're a writer, if you write, if you dance, if you paint, if you draw, whatever it is that your dream is, this is my challenge for you this week, is to allow yourself to be imperfect. Allow yourself to make those mistakes. Allow yourself to be raw and rough and not the best. But what if we made the goal to not be the best, but to just take that step? That one step of letting ourselves be imperfect. And the more you do it, the better and better and better and better you're going to get. We're not all born pianists, right? We're not all born to play the violin or born to play the flute or what have you with just the snap of a hat. When I learned how to play flute in grade 6, I think it was. Yeah, I was not very good at it. I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and then I practiced some more. And with my podcast, I did the one episode and I released it. And then I did another one and I released it. And some parts of me really want to go back to those first 4 episodes or so, delete them and just, because they are. And I'll probably, when I get to episode 50, I'll look back to this episode and be like, ugh, like, oh, and cringe at this one. But when you compare this one to number 1, it's like, yeah, I am getting just a little bit better. And you will too. You will. So let's let that be our challenge for this week. Not just your challenge, because I'm challenging myself too. Let's allow ourselves to be imperfect and just go do it. Go chase your dream. Go do what it is that you really want to do. Stop researching. Put the research down. take what you now know. You can go back and continue your research later. I'm still researching how to write. I'm still researching how to make my podcast better. I haven't stopped any of that. I still listen to Dave Campbell's How to Podcast series because I want to learn how to make it better. So let's keep doing that, but let's also release the episode. Let's also, for myself, go work on my book. So whatever it looks like for you, that's my challenge. Allow yourself to be imperfect. I'm going to allow myself to be imperfect. And I'm just going to go chase my dream as imperfect as I am. All right? All right. So thank you, everyone, for your time, for spending time with me. It was such an honor. It's an honor every time. And if you are, I see I have a new listener over in Serbia. If that is you, I see you and thank you. And I would love to hear from you. As always, wherever you're listening from, I would love to hear from you. So I'm going to leave you with JJ's tagline because it's just so awesome. So please pause. Love yourself in all your imperfections. And be aware of the ripple that you make. All right, take care, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you for listening all the way to the very end. Aw, you're the best. My website is ClassicChronicles.ca. If you want to head on over there, I have my co-hosts all listed there. If you click on their photos, it'll take you directly to their website. Go say hi to them. They would love to hear from you. Podcasters love hearing from their listeners. So go say hi. Don't be shy. And if you want to as well, there is a buy me a coffee link on there, which all the proceeds I use to just pour right back into my podcast. It does cost me just a little bit to have this podcast going, and I would love to be able to support it instead of taking it out of my own pocket and maybe, take the kids for an ice cream because they don't like coffee. I love coffee though. So, all right, you guys take care and we'll see you next week. Bye.